Hey, everybody. Hey. Hi, everybody. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Happy quarantine entertainment. This is how things are going these days. So it's exciting. It's a little different than we're normally used to, but we're going to have a good time. Don't you worry. Let me start out by acknowledging I get it. Things are tough right now. Things are tough everywhere. So give yourself a pat on the back. Before we do anything else, I want you to give yourself a pat on the back today because the last few months have been baby making crazy. So I get it. We're all like holding our breaths, waiting for everything to be over. So today I want to start out by congratulating you because I'm sure you never thought at the beginning of 2020 you'd be looking in the mirror thinking, oh, Lord, is this the life I signed up for? So I'm going to give you both the thumbs up, or I'm not going to go both. I'm going to go. Both of my thumbs are up. Like if you're doing other things right now, but they're up. So that's very good. So, and I'm happy you're here. Not just here, joining me, but here in the world. Because if you weren't here, there'd only be other people. And other people are assholes. So I'm glad you're here. So welcome. So that's real nice. So we're going to have some fun. And at the end of the day, another crazy week, I want you to just clear your head. I know things have been tough. I know things have been gnawing on you. And just want to say, if every breath you took from right now was a gift, wouldn't that be a great thing? If you looked at everything instead of the craziness and you just saw all the gratefulness that you have, well, that's hopefully what I'm going to give you a little bit of today. I'm going to give you some things to make you smile. I'm going to fill your heart up a little bit, share some stories with you, and hopefully make you just take a breath and get yourself away from everything that's going on. Give yourself a little bit of a giggle and leave you with a smile on your face. So welcome. How's everybody doing? I am Dixie Longate. For those of you who don't know me, I'm coming to you from through the internets from Mobile, Alabama. It's about 1,000 miles away from you. If you're joining me from Nebraska, it's 1,000 miles away, but I feel like I'm right there in your living room, except I can't see you and I can't hear you. So I'm like in your, it looks like I'm in my living room, but I'm in your living room, but but you're not there. So it's like I'm in your living room, but you went somewhere else. Like you left the door open because you live in a really nice area of town. So you're not worried about crime. And I just came in because I had your address from something else, who knows what. And I walked in and you're not there because you're like, at the Piggly Wiggly doing something, getting something to eat or something. And you're going to bring something home. And so I'm excited to figure out what you're going to bring in the door. Maybe even like a bag of groceries, got some, Cool Ranch Doritos, because I don't care what nobody says. Cool Ranch Doritos are so delicious. And I know that makes me look like I go to NASCAR all the time, which I do. But the important thing is they're amazing. I'm just going to say it. So you put it in your mouth, or maybe maybe you're bringing home some stuff to make bread. Because you didn't realize before that you could get bread all the time. And you never knew that you had to make your own bread until, never. And so now you're like, oh, I'm making bread because everybody else is making bread. And before, like a month ago, that lady that worked at the checkout, she had no idea that you had to get all the things for bread. She's like, where did that? Somebody comes in and says, hey, where do I get yeast? And she's like, I don't know, but I know a pill you can get to get rid of it. But now she knows exactly where the yeast is. So when you walk in, she don't even wait for you. She's like, there. It's there, aisle 7. Don't even ask me anymore. It's right there. Just go get it, because you're making your own bread. Because I don't know should you know this, but bread was never not available. There's always been bread there. There's a whole aisle. It says bread on it. So you can go in and get it already done. So you don't got to like let it rise and do all this stuff. So, but maybe you're like, ooh, got to make bread. So you're coming home from the Piggly Wiggly, or maybe you're coming home with them cinnamon rolls, them like a nice little dessert. Because I know people are eating and drinking and doing things that they normally wouldn't do. So you come the cinnamon, not the big ones, not like the ones that you get at the airport, they're like $45 and there's the biggest 2 fists, which you put in your mouth only like when you go to a party when you're trying to get people's attention. But like you're like, oh, this is a big thing I'm putting in my mouth. But not like that. I mean like the little cinnamon rolls that they're little so that you feel good about yourself. You have one, you're like, oh, it's delicious. I never had nothing that good in my mouth, technically. And then you're like, oh, and you feel like I haven't eaten a lot, so I just have another one. So there's still like a bunch of them left. So it's not like the one that you get at the airport, which is like more expensive than your ticket to on Southwest or JetBlue, wherever you're flying, and you get on, you never want to throw that thing away because that was as much as your mortgage. So you're like, oh, I'm going to take it with me, and then you get on the plane and then everybody can smell it. You don't want to share it with nobody, obviously, because you're not that nice. So you're like, oh, hey, I have this. And then everybody's like, I can smell it. I want some. And they can't get it. And so they're, relegated to getting whatever it is that that flight attendant brings down the aisle, which is usually, like one slice of turkey on a piece of bread and a wilted lettuce. I'm like, oh, Lord, you're going to make me buy that $15 sandwich. At least make the lettuce look like you didn't have to dive down and get it from the bottom of a dumpster. Why is that so hard? I'm eating healthy. Like, reward me or something, get some fresh greens. Anyway, but it's Friday night, and this time, see, I'm here. I'm happy to be here. And right now, I don't know, should you know this if you looked at the map, but I'm in Alabama and there's a storm blowing up. So any minute now, we could lose power. So that could be exciting. It's like live theater, but from far away. So hopefully we'll last all the way, because we're not supposed to get the winds and all the outer bands of the rain until Saturday, till tomorrow. So, we're just going with what we can now. But that's the fun of being on socially distant theater, And but storms are fun, because like after a storm, as long as it's not too bad, you don't lose the roof. What happens is like everybody's patio furniture that wasn't nailed down all ends up blowing into the overpass on the freeway. So you find all your neighbors, they go up and they're trying to, it's like a sale. You get all the favorite things. If you get there early, it's great, because then you can get like, a whole match set, or, the really nice pieces from the expensive homes that blow over there. But if you're like me and you end up rolling up about 12:30, oh, it's bad. It's all the leftover scratch and dent stuff, and everything's faded and got tears in it. And there's nothing worse than, when you're, I got there late and they're already have the truck from the city hauling stuff away. And then you got to go on the truck and be like, I'll take that one. That's embarrassing. But the last time I got there early, though, so I got a real nice picnic set with everything but the umbrella. We couldn't find that. But it was nice until I forgot to put that down on the ground and stake it down. And then the big wind come away and blow it into somebody else's yard. So I was just paying that forward. That's what you do. It's like God's relocation program. It just moves, patio furniture from one house to the next. So it's good. It's kind of a nice thing. You got to look at the silver lining. That's what I'm talking about. You got to look at the good things, the silver lining, because otherwise it's going to be like, oh no, it's bad. We don't need things to be bad. But the bottom line is I'm excited to be here, spending time with you tonight. Nothing better than, staring in a camera to a bunch of people I can't see or hear. It's like my favorite thing to do. It's like, well, I can think of like one thing that's better. I can think, okay, there's like three things that are better than this. One of them has to do with the football team, but they're not practicing because school's not in session, and they're probably not going to go back into school, in the fall. So it's going to be a long time so I can do that. So of like the three things I'd rather be doing than this, like you're climbing up that list fast. So that's nice. So I'm happy to, be here now doing this. So, as I said, I will be coming to Lincoln, Nebraska in October with my show Dixie's Tupperware Party. And I've been to Omaha before, but I've never been to Lincoln, Nebraska. So I'm very excited to be able to come to the state capitol and do my program. And for those of you who don't know, like I started selling Tupperware, oh Lord, 19 years ago. It was part of the conditions of my parole. And then I started going into people's homes and doing Tupperware parties. And then a friend of mine said, you should do this as a show. And I was like, shut. But he's serious. So we put it together as a show, took it to New York, and it got a lot of attention, which was nice. And then after the New York run, then I went on the road with it. I started going on the road in 2008. So I've been on the road 12 years. And until Corona's happened, I was kept going. I was going to go. And then everything got canceled. But the first people that are asking me back is right there at the Lead Center. And they called me up. They said, what are you doing? I was like, drinking. And they said, hey, you're going to come here in October. And I'm like, yeah. And they said, you want to come in July, but then do it on the computer. And I looked at my calendar, and July is before October. And they confirmed that that was true, and they said, would you like to do it? I said, yes, that'd be nice. I'll do it. And then and if you have fun tonight, maybe you consider buying a ticket to the show that's going to happen there. Now, that's going to be a totally different show. This is me just talking about some of the fun things that have been happening since Corona. But hopefully you'll have a good time, and then you'll come back and see me, and I can give you a hug live and in person. And like I said, this is a bit of a fundraiser. So think about it this way. Now, that all the art centers, the Lead Center and all art centers all over the world have been closed since March. And a lot of them are going to continue to be closed. They're waiting until they can get enough people to be able to come in safely. So the art centers, not just the performers aren't getting to perform, but the art centers that are a vital part of your community, they can't have their doors open. Well, they still have people that work there. They still have staff from their community, that need a job. So a lot of people, unfortunately, are getting laid off and put on furlough because art centers don't have no monies coming in. So an opportunity like this gives you the opportunity to click that little donate button. And if you want to give it out $1, $2, $5, $10, whatever you'd stick in a G-string of a stripper, it's nice. You can do it this way. And then they can keep their doors open. And then when things like ease up, they're going to be there for you. And that's about So, you know, it's little, like a couple dollars, forget it. And you're not going to miss it. They're never going to forget it. So if you don't mind just sticking a little donate button, they're going to get that money. That's going to be a nice thing, right? And that's the goal in life, is you have to do nice things for people. That's why my goal is always to be smiling and leading and making good times. That's why we call it Dixie's Happy Hour, because, you know, I'm fixing to make you happy. And you can't have a happy hour without having a drink. And I got something today. This is so fun. Look around, house wine. Wine specifically formulated to be able to be drunk in a house. Who comes up with this? You know, and I know you're like, oh, that wine in a can. I'm not going to drink it from the can. Come on, I'm classy. I'm not from Kentucky. I'm from Alabama, for God's sake. So what you do, I'm going to put it in my Tupperware sippy cup, because I don't go nowhere without my Tupperware sippy cup. Because first of all, you know, I'm not going to talk all about the Tupperware today, but it's ribbed for your pleasure, which is a good thing. And, oh, my Lord, the nice thing about it is you have this, what's called the dripless straw seal on it. So, you know, when you're drinking and driving and you hit a baby or whatever, well, the nice thing is you don't got to clean up the inside of the car, because this way it's not going to spill. Now, you're going to have to clean out what's on the grill of the car outside, but you don't got to worry about, oh no, it's spillable wine in the car. Now I got to sop it all up. See, because this, and it's got this dripless straw seal, so you can stick the straw in it like this, okay, and drink from it. But then when you're done, look at this, you take it out, nothing. That little vagina seals right up, and then you got no problem. Isn't that the most amazing thing you've ever seen in your whole life? How does Tupperware do it? I don't know. I don't design it. I just sell the crap. But anyway, so we're going to have some fun and get drinks. So get yourself something to drink, you know. And people that, oh, Lord, you know, you're drinking, and that's good. You know, I used to only drink wine from the box, but now the can is really exciting. I've never seen it before the Coronas, but I was always drinking it from the box. People would say, oh, that's not good. You shouldn't do that. That's not classy. I'm like, you're just jealous because my alcoholism comes with handles. Okay. Just get your own hobby. You don't have to be up in my business about it. You know, that's the good thing. You figure out the things that you do. And some of you were saying, oh, I've been drinking so much. You know, I drink too much. So I'm an alcoholic. I can't drink. Okay, no, you're not an alcoholic because you can't drink. You're an alcoholic because you drank. And thank you for that, because that means you're a trailblazer. So you've opened up the room and the opportunity for those of us to be able to follow you. So cheers to you, because without you, I mean, what will we be drinking? Water? Gross. And some of you are thinking, you know, oh, I've been drinking this whole time through the Coronas, and I better lay off it. You know, I should do what they call like sober January, which is not really a thing. That's just something that some New Jersey mother came up with because she didn't have a good topic to talk about in her blog. You know, it was in her mama blog. So she put out, oh, sober January. And then a couple people thought it, and they thought, that's a good idea. Can you imagine? I mean, life is tough enough. I mean, I gave up plenty of stuff for Lent at Christmas time. I don't need to give up more. Are you kidding me? And it's part of the comedy now. You got to buy alcohol. And the thing is, because they closed down everything and be able to go out to bars and everything. So I look at it this way. My drinking is a business expense. I'm going to be able to write this off my taxes, because otherwise I'll be doing it out somewhere else. Now I got to do it at home, which means I got to pay for it at home. Because normally when I go into a bar, I'm real convincing, so I don't normally have to pay for my own drinking. You know, I got skills. Got to put them to use when you can. And besides, you know, if you're not drinking, you know what, that's a terrible idea, because think about it this way. If you're not drinking right now, that means you're not buying alcohols. If you're not buying alcohols, you know what that means? That means somebody that makes alcohols is not getting no money. And how are they supposed to survive? Like, let's say you normally drink wine, okay? And then you're not drinking wine now because you're like, oh, I'm not going to drink it because I drank too much before and I can't drink it no more. Okay, well, then all the people in France that make the alcohols and the wines, they can't get no money no more. And then they're going to have to lay off all their employees. And then everybody's going to end up living under a bridge and playing that like big thing that goes up and down like this. What's that called? The ukulele? I don't know, it was on all those old French films that was in the black and white. And they would do that, and then they're going to live under a bridge, and then they're going to die. And it's all because you can't muster up, oh, I got to be sober today. Whatever. You can make a different choice later on, but right now, you got to keep people employed. Because what do you want to do? In France, you're going to kill all the people in France just because you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to be able to drink it right now. That's rude. You're going to kill all the people in France, the Frances. Why you got to do that? Just drink up. Take a minute. It's a Friday night. It's not like you're doing nothing else but drinking anyway the rest of the week. So why should this be any different, right? So cheers to you. And thank you for the Lead Center to have me here. And it's the Lead Center, not the Lied Center. I know it looks like lie because it's L-I-E-D, but it's pronounced lead, which don't make no sense. Because like my ex-husband didn't lead to me. He lied to me. And that's why nobody's found his body after that one particular night. But that's not important right now. And I'm not going to spend a minute like correcting your pronunciation because I got better things to do in my life than worry about that. You know, you say tomato, I say tomato, basically, because I'm from Americas. You know, because the only people who say tomato are from Great Britain, and you know, Great British people don't come over here and say tomatoes to all of us. I mean, they do. I've met them, but like they're not going to come over and like end up going to Lincoln, Nebraska. Not that there's nothing wrong with Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm just saying, like, if you was coming over from Great Britain, you're not going to say, they're going to be like in New York or Los Angeles. You know, I mean, please trust me. I'm from Alabama. It's not like we're the international hub of fellowship and travelers. That's not how it goes down here. But anyway, so just a little bit about me, just so you know. So I am, like I said, from Mobile, Alabama, and you know, it's like I said, I was starting to sell Tupperware, and then it all happened, and then it was great, and then I went on the road, and then but before that, I got out of prison, and my parole officer, adorable, she's like, you need a job in order to get your kids back. I'm like, gross, you know, kids, but they make you take it. It's the law or whatever. And I'm like, I don't think you understand what freedom means, because when I get out, you gonna give me kids that I may or may not want. You know, that's wrong. Why you gotta do that? And then, you know, then you got to take care of the kids, and that's super hard right now. And they're not here right now. You know, I put them across the street. No, well, normally they'd be staying with Mabel Gunwood, who lives directly across, but Learning Channel is there right now setting up to film a reunion episode of Hoarders, so they can say, look, oh, did she keep in her good paces or what? You know, yeah, newsflash, she didn't. But they did. But I will say, look, the Learning Channel said that we are the only town in the entire country that they have filmed 3 different episodes in 3 different houses on the same block. So we got on TV. That was really nice. You know, they gave everybody an award. It's like a gift, you know, it's wind chimes. It's actually like the skeleton of a dead cat all strung together. But it sounds real pretty when it gets smacked with a breeze. But like when a storm is coming like this, you got to take them down from the stoop, because otherwise, whoa, you don't want to end up with them in your yard. It's bad. I think they found them down on that lady's trailer that they excavated on Route 9. She was so sweet, but she had gone missing for a while, and everybody thought she kind of like ditched her trailer and just headed on out. But turns out she had broken up with her boyfriend, and she was stress eating so much. And when they found her, she had kind of fused herself to the toilet, so they had to cut off the side of the trailer and forklift her out. But when the camera crews left and the dust settled, it was a gold mine of dead cats. So everybody got one, and they, you know, cleaned them up, obviously, and it's just so pretty, you know. So I you know, you gotta think about the good things in life, like I'm saying. She's an angel. I think she checked herself into a program after that to get help. I should call her. What's her name? Oh, it's in my phone. I'll find it later. But anyway, so she's good people. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's what we do. Got, you know, and if the kids, they're at my best friend Georgia Jean's, not at Mabel, so they're at Georgia Jean's, and she's taking care of them. She's the one that owns the local honky tonk. My hope is that this storm kind of gets bigger and prevents them from coming home for the weekend, because oh my God, it's hard enough to like take care of your kids once you get out of prison, but with a quarantine where you got to see them 24/7, that's really hard. And so I'm hoping that storm like heats up, because mama needs a weekend to herself, you know what I'm saying? It's you know, otherwise they're gonna come home and, you know, talk or whatever. But you know, whoo, come on, Lucky 7, make that come in so they can't come. Can I get an amen? I don't know if you said amen, because I'm not there, but I'm assuming, you know, you're like, amen. Or, you know, you said something when you're on your knees, you know, Jesus, or ouch, or not so hard. Whatever you say when you're on your knees, I'm sure you're thinking of the Lord. So that's very good, you know. But anyway, so I mean, normally I talk to the kids when I'm on the road, but now I'm talking about it all the time. Normally they make you go on the FaceTime and say, oh, how are you, Mama? I'm like, why is the dog missing a leg? What's that bloody handprint with no finger up on the wall? Come on. And then I just like shake my computer. I'm like, I'm going through canyon, can't hear you. And then I shut the door of the laptop, because, oh, these kids, they're always getting into trouble, and I don't want to do it. Now I got to see them every damn day of my life. Oh, it's terrible. I mean, listen, I love coming home, but sometimes got to get away. I mean, you know, I'm stuck here in Alabama. I like Alabama. But listen, in order to love Alabama, you got to leave Alabama. You know what I'm saying? But living in Alabama, though, I have to say, I'm sure just like living there in Lincoln, living wherever you live, and there's a lot of great things about where you are. Like, there's a lot of great things about Alabama. Okay, it's not like a lot of great things, but there are some great things about Alabama. You know, there. Well, okay, so there are like more than you can count on one hand, but not as many as you can count on both hands. So you need like a hand and a half. So not a. There's like some great things about Alabama. It's like probably like Canada. There's like a lot of great things about Canada, but you can't name them. You know, so if you're going to go on a quiz show, like, hey, what are the great things about Canada? And, you know, once you get like the Eiffel Tower and the Niagara Falls off the table, you're like, moose, you know. So it's like that, you know, but the things we have are really good when you think about it. Like we have, okay, far too many Confederate statues. But other than that, if you just don't think about that, we almost did put a pedophile on the state Senate. But, okay, not considering that. If you take that away, we're not great on women's reproductive health issues. But if you face like away from, if you look at this, and we're not great with the BLT community, but okay, if you squint and look directly in the sun, you see that Alabama is pretty amazing. It is. Like, for example, you didn't know this. Did you know this? We are where Mardi Gras started. Mobile is the birthplace of Mardi Gras. And a lot of people don't know that. They think that it all got to start in New Orleans. And it didn't. New Orleans just stole it from us. They stole it, which is why they get flooded all the time, because Jesus don't like people who steal. It's right there in the Bible. First Colossians chapter 12. 8, you know, thou shalt not take other people's stuff, you know, .com or whatever. And yeah, so I mean, but the Bible's got so many good stories like this. They do. They say, you know, share things, which is why we share that with them, so we don't take ownership of all of it, even though we made it first, and people should be coming to ours, not theirs. But you know, there's so many good stories. Like my favorite story in the Bible is that one when Jesus turns water into wine. It is so good, and it has so much meaning. Oh, it's like that Jonah and the whale, you know, except without the whale and without Jonah and with a lot more wine. And when Jesus is turning water into it. Well, I mean, Jonah was probably there. It was a huge picnic. He probably would be there, you know, but it was like a later story than Jonah. So Jonah's probably been out of shape. You wouldn't recognize him because he was so much older. And back then they didn't have like drugstores or lotion or entertainment television or, you know, the InStyle magazine to kind of teach you how to make yourself look good. So he didn't know. So he's just like old, walking around going like, I'm Jonah. And they're like, here's some wine. And he's like, but I was swallowed by a whale, and nobody really cared except the prostitutes that would hang around with Jesus. You know, they heard the word swallow and they just come running over. It's like ringing a dinner bell with them. But like, what? He's like, there's a different kind of swallow, obviously. So he's like, oh no, you know, I was important. But that's why when they went back and like put the edit version of the Bible together before they released it to the libraries, they were like, hey, let's like doctor your story up a little bit. And so that's why if you read Jonah and the Whale, there's like the part with like the lasers, you know, and the cat, because they wanted to make the story really intriguing. You know, I never really read it because I did, well, because I have a friend that saw the movie and tipped me off. They're like, oh, there's this part with water into wine. So I kind of like went right to that part and skipped everything before it. So I never saw it. But, you know, the movie was so good. Not the Mel Gibson movie. He didn't see the Mel Gibson movie because that one is real confusing because it wasn't in American. It was in a different language. And so it was like the earlier movie with Charlton Heston. Those names sound so similar. I kind of get them all screwed up in my mind, so I apologize for that. But and then we also had this thing. Okay, the biggest party south of the Mason-Dixon. Now in New York, right? You have New Year's Eve. You have that thing with that big ball drop where everybody gets around and cheers, and the ball comes down. We have the same kind of thing. Huge. It's called Moon Pie over Mobile. You don't believe me? You can Google this and look it up. It is amazing. What it is they have a 600-pound, 35-foot moon pie hoisted on a crane on the side of this hotel downtown. They lick it all the way up. Okay, and then when it gets down that last minute before midnight, they start lowering it real slowly by the windows down all the way until it gets to the ground. And when it does, they splash Happy New Year and lights on the side of the hotel. And Sister Sledge comes out and she says, we are family. Yeah, 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 yeah. Which is weird because neither Sister Sledge nor Moon Pies are from Mobile. But it's so much fun. And it is a party. Oh, you have no idea. It is a party to end all parties. I mean, everybody comes the whole day. You know, they're all in there the whole day having a good time, tailgating. They bring the trucks and put out the barbecue, and everybody's sucking the heads off of crawdads and playing cornhole. which I understand is something very different in the BLT community. I never seen it, but like ours involves beanbags, I guess. So that's a difference. But no, but it's really fun. We have a great time. But then there's so many people by the end of the night. So many people that you're walking around and everything is stuck to you. And like last year, I was walking around. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this no more. I ended up having a Burger King wrapper stuck to the back of my hair all day, and I didn't even know it. I turned to my friend when I saw myself in the rearview mirror of somebody's truck, and I was like, I had this thing the whole day stuck to my hair. You didn't say nothing. I gave my phone number out to like 17 people, and now they think I eat at the Burger King that I can't even afford to eat at the Wendy's because I got a Whopper thing stuck to my hair. Why don't you tell me these things? You got to pick your friends. Just, saying it. But so this last year in the middle of it, I was like, I can't do this no more. Let's get a hotel room. So we get a hotel room up on one of the top floors, happened to still be available up by the, where the ball drop come up. So we saw the moon pie real good from our angle. And so it's me and Georgia Jean and a bunch of friends. We all got up there and okay. When you've been drinking like a lot and the room is spinning because you've been drinking. And so you don't know where you are. You've been drinking and just the room is spinning. So you're like, oh, my Lord. And then there are people with you and they're screaming. And you don't know why they're screaming because you've been drinking and the room is spinning. But they're screaming. And you're like, oh, my God, why are they screaming? Because the room is spinning because I've been drinking. And then they're screaming, obviously, because it's New Year's Eve and they're excited. They're having a party. But I don't know that because they're screaming, and I'm just drinking and the room is spinning and the room is spinning and they're just screaming and I don't know what's going on. And let me just interrupt the story to tell you that Alabama is the #1 place in the United States for UFO sightings and alien abductions. So when you've been drinking and the room is spinning and people are screaming and you don't know why they're screaming, but you've been drinking and the room is spinning and all the screaming has happened. And then a 600-pound, 35-foot moon pie descends past your window. I'm going to say it. I pooped on the carpet. I did. I was so scared. I jumped up. I ran down the hallway. I had like a tube top and a half a boot on. That's it. It was terrible. I did not get my cleaning deposit back. I'm just going to say it. So, but, there are other hotels. So next year we'll probably go to one of the other ones just to let you know. So but you got to leave the kids at home. You don't want the kids there. Because the kids are taking up so much space, especially if you go, kids, it used to be back in the day when they're there, you can leave them somewhere. So if you had to go somewhere that's like, I don't know, to drink in at the honky tonk or across state lines to empty a trash bag that was in the back of your car into a ditch, you can do that. But now they're around all the time. It's my favorite 3 words in the whole English language. Back to school. Okay, those are the best words in the world because like September, that short bus would drive up, that lady would open that door. I'd say, woo, see you in June, kids, and send them away. And apparently they would come home every night. I didn't realize this. So I hear knocking. I'm like, sorry, we're closed for the day. Come back later. But now they come home, they're knocking on the door. Mama, the school's over. And I'm like, I don't believe nothing. Because you know how kids do. They try to manipulate you and play on your heartstrings. So they say, oh, no, school's not going to be running no more. And I was like, I'm sorry, you're going to need to get a note from your principal to tell me that for fact because I didn't get nothing sent home. And they're like, you can't get it from the principal because he's not, school's not open no more. So I had to find his number, call the principal and be like, is this true that the school's closed and everything? And he's like, yes, it's true. And I was like, oh, my Lord. So now I got to learn them and take care of them and everything. Oh, it was terrible. Because I got 3 of them. I got a 16-year-old, 10-year-old, and a 3-year-old. Winona, Dwayne, little Absorbing Jr. Just having said age of that one. He is such a sweetheart. You have no idea. I mean, he's only 3, so he never went to school in the first place. So it's not like a big change for him. But for the other 2, whoo, yeehaw. I'm telling you what, those kids, it's been a big transition for them. My oldest, Winona, she had a job. She was working at the Hooters. But now they had to close that one because they didn't have any outdoor dining because in the last storm it ripped the whole awning off. So they hadn't had the money to get it repaired yet. So there's no outdoor dining right now. So they only had indoor dining. They couldn't open during the indoor dining. So she didn't work in the front with the chicken fingers or nothing. She worked in the back in the stock room. She got a job right away working with the manager in the back. I don't know what she's doing. What she got? climbing the corporate ladder. I don't know what that means, but she comes home. She always says about an hour after work, she comes home sweating. So I know she is working. I don't know what she's doing, but I have a feeling something real big is coming her way. So that it makes my heart happy to know that I have a daughter that has such good work ethic. Picked it up from mama, you know. And then my son, my middle one, he's Dwayne. He's so cute. He's 10 years old, and I got a call from this lady at school. I know her daughter because she twirls the baton. Not good, but enough that like later on she'll be able to get a job with something that's that same shape that she can go twirling around. Anyway, so she calls me up. She's like, "Oh, are you gonna go to the graduation and carnival?" And I was like, "What graduation?" You know, and she said, "Oh, it's the graduating for the people going into 6th grade." I'm like, "Oh no, my son's in 5th grade." She's not good at counting the numbers, I guess. So anyway, so she's like, "Well, your son's name is on the list." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And it's on a Saturday, which is super inconvenient, but I did it because, you know, I'm a good mother. So, and then they said, "Oh, would you be in charge of the drinks?" Which is dumb. Okay. Because I'd already been kicked out of the PTA when I was the refreshment team coordinator because I brought vodka and then everybody lost their damn mind. School was after hours. None of the kids were there. What is the problem with it? If you're going to schedule a meeting during happy hour, do not be surprised when I walk in the door with an armful of shots. I don't understand why that's outer limits to some people. "You're welcome" is the correct response to that. Thank you. Okay. I mean, most people wouldn't even leave the bar, but I understand how important it is to my kids to have that responsibility. So I came. And I'm like, I'm a bad mother all of a sudden. No, they're bad mothers because they're pretending they don't drink. They're trying to hide it from everybody. So you know what they do? They end up drinking in the garage or in the crawl space or out in the shed to cover it up. And I'm just like, don't worry about it. Everybody knows that you drink on a weekday. It's not a problem. I don't know what the issue is, you know. But then, so I was supposed to be in charge of bringing drinks to this little carnival and everything. And I was like, oh, Lord. So I bring Jello shots because, you know, like the commercial says, there's always room for Jello. And apparently some people don't like that either. She says to me, "Why'd you make the Jello shots with vodka?" I'm like, "Because I don't know how to make them the other way. Okay, get off my back." And she said, "Well, you can't bring them in here." I'm like, "Oh, really? So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to leave them in the trunk of the car in July in the hot sun in Alabama? You know what that turns into? It's called soup." So that's what I had in my car. Everything was all soupy and sticky, right? And then all the kids had these different games that they were supposed to play, but we had to socially distance everything. And it was long and irritating. And we had this one lady, she's a teacher, and she's got this thing called Mrs. Pockets. So she wears this long dress with all these pockets all over. She puts little, you know, little knickknacks and prizes in each pocket. Some of them she's made. Can't figure out what some of those things are, but then you give her a little ticket, you reach in and take one. And if you're like somebody from the junior or senior class that came down and watch your little brother or sister graduate, then she lets you reach in a couple extra pockets. I was like, okay, Mary Kay Letourneau, we've all seen Dateline. We know how this ends. Why don't you scurry away? Because this is not going to look good for the rest of the student body if you're doing this, right? And then they got that fishbowl, you know, that fishbowl game where there's a bunch of like little fish tanks with goldfish in them. And then you got to throw a ping pong ball. And if you get it in, you get the fish. Oh my Lord. So my little one is standing there, not even near it. He had a ping pong ball in his hand because somebody had missed and he found it on the ground. And he picked it up. He wasn't even trying to play. He had a spasm and ended up doing this. Didn't even get near a fishbowl. But let me tell you, he won a damn prize. Why? Because on account of the fact that they had gotten so many of these prizes from the Party City, because this was the only school in town that did a little carnival. Okay, so they got all these prizes to unload. And you know there's nothing worse than a toddler coming home with a live animal from something like this, because you know they're going to lose interest in 20 minutes. And then what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. I got to take care of it. The parent is the one that's got to take care of this damn thing. So I got to change the water and clean the little rocks in it and make it, I'll feed it with the food and get that little, you know, thing that looks like a castle. And then every time it swims by, it goes, "Oh, I live in a castle." You know, not having any respect for the fact that it didn't earn the money to buy the castle. I put the castle in there, but it don't even take no mind of that. It just keeps swimming around. "Oh, I live in a castle." You know, again and again and again. And I got to clean that. I mean, sure, it was only $1.29 from the Petco, but at least know where your bread is buttered. "Oh, I got a castle." Just again and again. And I put it for a while right there on the countertop in the kitchen because I was hoping that the kids would see it and take interest in it again. And then one night I'm making dinner, and have you ever seen a goldfish poop? It is like a long string of spaghetti. I'm making pasta the other night. I'm like, "Oh, put that away. I got to show that." So I had to move it into the bedroom so the kids wouldn't get all weird about it. And that thing keeps saying, "Oh, look, I live in a castle. Look, I live in," and I'm like, if you're going to continue to yammer on about this, I'm going to flush you down the damn toilet so you can be with your people, because I know this is too much for me. I'm not good with certain kind of animals. Dogs, totally good with them. Cats, sometimes if they stay outside, but a goldfish is just too much. That is the worst. Or even worse is if these kids win a hermit crab. I tell you something. Hermit crabs are just stupid because I know they're little, but they're also so short. They're slow. So what you do is you put them down and then you lose them. You look away for a minute, they've crawled somewhere. And they're always shells kind of match whatever your decor is. So you don't know where they are. And the last thing I want to do as a grown woman who owns my own trailer is watch where I'm stepping when I come home in a pair of heels because I might be in danger and stepping on a hermit crab. Lord. I don't know where that one is that we got from the carnival. I haven't seen him in a couple of days. I'm hoping that he just like went away, found another one. They're on their way to Mexico in a real slow crawl. I mean, maybe they'll get picked up by the storm later on. But, you know, what are you going to do? Oh, and then at this carnival, they played musical chairs, socially distant musical, which is funny because everything is like, 12 feet away. So when they're running, they're doing like a half marathon and then the music stops and it's just like a bloodbath trying to get to that chair, but you don't want to touch each other and they have the masks on. So it just didn't make no sense. I mean, it looked more like all these kids had gotten up on the right night and, gotten all the chairs after a particularly windy day, because nothing matched. That's where they got everything. But, to be honest, the kids loved it. So you got to give them a little bit of credit having fun. And then they had socially distant Twister. Really? Socially distant Twister. There are certain things that you are not able to do with social distancing. Twister is among them. That's like having a key party where you can't touch somebody. Remember that? You'd have a key party and then you're supposed to go into the bedroom and do something with them. And now it's like socially distant. That can you imagine? Because what are you going to do if you can't talk to somebody that you just picked up their key? What are you going to talk? You're going to talk to them. That yuck. Why do you want to talk to somebody? Because they're not going to have nothing to say. Most of them are going to be uncomfortable. You just pick them because of the way they look. And then you got to talk to them. You got to go into the shed or you got to go to the bedroom or you got to go behind that changing screen that we put up. It's the room divider that I used to. It was so cute. I'd show you, but we had to take it down. It was like 7 macrame pot holders all put together at various heights. It looked so nice until little Shelly Dunlap, his daughter, came over and she has no depth perception because she has a lazy eye. She walked right into it. She got a big old cut on her head. Her mama blames me for her other eye going lazy, but it cleared up her psoriasis. So the Lord taketh and the Lord giveth away. What are you going to do? But in the end, whoever's key you pick out that bowl, you're supposed to do something with. So this way, it's tough if you got to talk to them. And I'm usually the host of these parties because people don't do them as frequently as they used to anymore. So you got to get like an even number of men and women. And then as the host, I always have to be the one to go last. And everybody knows what the Reverend's keychain looks like. It's got a big cross on it. So I'm like, it's the Reverend. Again, I got to go in and sit there and talk to him. And the only thing he's going to do is he's going to tell me the same stories he tells me at church every day. What am I? Joan in the whale. Yeah, I know. I heard it. Pass. That's a hard pass. I don't need to hear this again. But he's probably easier to talk to than some of the other people because he does that thing with the sock puppet. He's not good at it. I mean, the voice isn't coming from that because his lips are moving the whole time. He always does it wrong. But I probably better stay with him than like some of the other people I pick up from the gas station to come to the key parties because otherwise you're going to talk to them. They're not going to have nothing to say. And then you got to make that face that you make to make sure that they're feeling good about themselves and like you're really interested. And I'm not good at that face because I'm not an actress. Like I look at him and be like, that's my interested face. And I know it don't come off the way I think it does. I'm like, I'm not Meryl Streep. I mean, she can make anything look interesting. She can hear somebody talk about nothing and go, and make it look so interesting. And I mean, inside, she's calculating how high the bridge has to be that she's going to push you off of so that you float downstream long enough so that all her fingerprints are washed off by the time your body's fished out of the river by the police. But she can just look at you and be like, that is fascinating. What are you talking about? Paint? Wow. She's good. I'll tell you, I hope if they ever do a movie about me, I hope I get to play her. Yeah, because she's so talented. But anyway, so that's why socially distant Twister is just not a good carnival game. Just remember that. Just jot it down in case you're in charge of something next time. And now the kids are stuck at home, so to make everything, accommodate them. And we're run out of things to do. Right now, I got chairs all over the place. I took all the ones in from, I didn't want the storm to hit them, but I also had to make a little maze. So I put all these chairs in it. I draped a bunch of sheets all over it so that the kids can, it's like a maze. It's like the end of The Shining. All the kids go in there and try to find their way around. I don't know. I haven't seen the little one about 6 days probably. But I don't want to go in and find him. Let him explore. He's little. If he wants some food, he'll holler. I shove the cat in. The cat doesn't come back licking anything. So it's like, okay, I'm sure he's fine. We'll find him. It's fine. But you try to do some crafting with the kids and try to keep them excited about it. So we got all these little things. We got like these, found some of the crafts. Yarn llama. I can't say that without singing it because it sounds like yarn llama. It sounds like hot pockets. And I got some llama stuff on account of the fact that llamas are the exact measure you're supposed to keep socially distanced from somebody else. So if you put yourself and then a llama and somebody else, you're going to stay healthy. It's been scientifically proven. And then I made this, and this is the nicest thing ever. I crocheted some toilet paper, which is the form and function. It's acrylic, so it's a little itchy, but it washes right out. Lickety split. Because, the toilet paper shortage was so hard. Yeah. Not a bread shortage. Still got plenty of bread. But the toilet paper went away for a while, so I had to, take matters into my own hands. That's what you got to do, So got all the kinds of things that we're putting together, and it's very important. And this one. I'm trying to get my daughter into this. It's cross stitch. Look, everything's a dildo if you're brave enough. Isn't that sweet? It's true, actually. But it's so sweet. I've been working on this for a while. I'm going to give this to my Meemaw. Oh, I like that so much. Because there's nothing that shows like you've spent time thinking about somebody than a cross stitch. Because these take a long time. It's not even done yet. It's going to have the eggplant on it and a large candle, like the kind you have on a birthday cake that you can't blow out. It's so funny. I don't know how they make them lit like that, but I'm going to put it on and frame it. I'm going to give it to my Meemaw to probably just put it right in the front entryway so that when people come over from, church or something, they can be, oh, that is so nice. Who made that for you? She gave me my grandbaby. I'm like, that is the nicest thing ever, because she used to admire one I had in my entryway. I had to take it down because I've got a hole blown. It was a gopher problem. It's not important, but I had one it was a sampler that somebody's daughter made for me. It was so sweet. It's, what a sampler is, right? It's like the whole alphabet and then a couple of like decorative stitches. But the gal who made it has dyslexia and she's not a good speller. So it had like 11 D's on it. And then it was a shape. It was either a mouse or maybe a strawberry. It's the right shape, but the color was like a million miles off. So I'm not sure exactly what it was, but you got to look at it and be like, oh, that's so nice, because Jesus is watching. So you got to keep that going on because otherwise he's going to be all moody. Hey, I was on the cross. I'm like, I know. I saw the movie with Charlize Theron, Charlene Tilton, whoever was going to, it's all runs together. I'm going to have to watch it again. It's probably on Netflix. But anyway, so I'm going to give this to my Meemaw when it's done. I'm going to have to get it all framed real nice. Y'all know what a Meemaw is, right? Because like if you're from where you're from, so Nebraska is not necessarily you're the Midwest. I don't know how that works. You're the Midwest. I don't know how you'd be in the middle of the West because the West is like California and you're not in the middle of California. So you're like east of the West. So I don't know how that qualifies you as the Midwest. I just know that you're not the South. The South is like Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, Texas, some parts, maybe up in North Carolina if it's kind of a crapshoot. Definitely not Florida. Ugh. Florida is not the South. I don't care what they told you. Public school is not the South. It's simply where people from New Jersey come down for good weather and casual racism. It is not the South. No. So Meemaw, just saying, a Meemaw is what people in the North call a grandmother. The difference between that is the grandmother tries to conceal her drinking, but a Meemaw carries it right there in her purse where everybody can see it. So she is not ashamed of it. And so you can always tell how many grandbabies Meemaw has by the condition of her purse. If it's nice and well cared for, that she only has one grandbaby, she's what's called a Mimi. So if you go talk to her, you can congratulate her. Oh, that's nice of a baby, but wear comfortable shoes and give yourself plenty of time because she is going to pull out of that purse. She's going to pull out like 6 photo albums of that damn baby. She's going to pull out the christening dress, probably a lock of hair and a tooth. Even if the baby is a newborn, she went up with pliers and pulled the tooth out just so she had something to talk about. So, and if that purse is well worn and you can see that the side is cut off so the spigot of wine comes right out the corner, then she's a Meemaw. She's probably got more grandbabies than she cares to remember. And if she's got more than 5, she doesn't remember the names of them. She stopped learning those a long time ago. So don't ask them about her. She don't want to try to tax her brain with a few minutes she has left on this earth trying to remember the names of the kids to share them with you. And remember, she's from the South, so it's likely she's got a pistol that she's packing in that purse. So just don't get on her bad side. All right? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, oh, so I was talking about, so we got to have these little games now for the kids. You got to keep making it because now it looks like the schools aren't going to be opening again. So you got to keep kids excited and kids engaged. So you got to do things. And that puzzle, 5 pieces isn't enough to keep them occupied for a day. It says so on the box, but it's not true. They got that so fast. So we're playing games in the quarantine. One of my favorite games, lay on the floor. It's a good. My little one is so good at that. I love that game because he plays it all the time. The other kids would be at school, and I'd be like, lay on the floor. Usually when somebody comes over, like the handyman, to fix something, in the bedroom, we go, oh, we're going to play lay on the floor. And this way, you don't have to hear any of the sounds that are coming out of the bedroom, and you don't have to repeat them to anybody. So you don't get to do nothing. If you see how long you lay on the floor, if you can lay on the floor till you hear the doorknob open back up and mama come out, then you're going to get a cookie. Or what, I don't know, whatever. We just make up different games for them to play like that, cookie, caramel, mouse. It doesn't matter. It gets excited that there's an incentive, whether he remembers it or not afterward, But it is tough. And then you have to be careful because then in storm season, all the electricity keeps going out all the time. And that was the problem because they were trying to learn on the computer and they couldn't do it because they kept losing the internet. So I had to call the AT&T guy and have him come out. Holy Lord. That was tough because he would come out and I got on the phone. I was like, I need to get an appointment. And he says, yes, let me know when I can come out and check your box. I was like, oh, this is a promising phone call. And he said, okay, so here's the deal. I got 9 to noon, noon to 2, and 2 to 5. Which window should I come in? And I was like, probably the one in the bedroom because that way you won't be disturbing the kids and wouldn't be too distracting. And so, it was the day of the appointment and I was in the bedroom and I had, tousled my hair up so and I could put my nice silk bathrobe on and look real good. And then it was about 2:15 and there's a knock on the front door. And I was like, crap, I don't think nobody's coming over. And now if I leave the bedroom and he comes in the window, what am I going to be able to do? Because he's going to think that I left him. And so I try to take care of this real quick and I run to the front door and my kids are like, they're sitting there and they're like, why are you in your bathrobe? It's the middle of the day. I'm like, why aren't you at school? It's the middle of the day. So I go to the front door and it's the AT&T guy. I was like, we made a plan. And anyway, so come on in and we come on in. He says, well, I want to check your box out. And I'm like, okay. So we go into the bedroom. I sit down on the bed and I let the robe fall off one shoulder. And I was like, yeah. And he said, no, the one with the batteries. I'm like, okay. So I open up the bedside table and there's a couple in there and not all of them have fresh batteries. So I had to, play with them until I found the one that was really recharged. So I handed him that and he goes, no, I got to flick your dongle. Okay, so I slid down the bed to the end and I got out the trampoline and he said, no, the one with the AT&T logo on it. I'm like, well, that's in a completely different room. So we went to that room, and he saw it and he went down on one knee and wasn't even facing me at this point. And he's just working on it with a screwdriver or whatever. And then he finished and he goes, looks like we're good. I'm like, are we? He said, there's going to be no charge for this. I'm like, there shouldn't be because you didn't do anything. And then he got back in his truck and left. And I turned around and my kids are sitting there staring at me like this. And I'm like, what? So I got to do the walk of shame in my own house from my front door to my bedroom while my kids are looking at me. All because he didn't do the thing that he offered, which was to pick a window to come in from 2 to 5. I told him the window by the bedroom. It's not my fault he screwed up. Seriously going to change my provider. Make no sense. And some of the other games we play, we play the game hide and seek, which is a real good one. So the kids, I go, ooh, count to 1,000, which is fun. And then 1,000 is good. It's good for 2 reasons. It's good for them because they can learn their counting, and it's good for you because you can get stuff done. So they can start counting, 1, 3, 4, 5, and then I leave. I go out, I get in the truck, I drive away, and I get stuff done. I go to the dry cleaners and pick up that real nice dress that I had gotten stuff on, and then I went to the library and picked up a book. Then I went to the Piggly Wiggly and did some shopping because you never know when the storm's coming in, so you got to get all that stuff together. And then I went to the mechanic and I got my oil done and my tires rotated. I got everything cleaned up. It's real nice. I've been done that for a while. And then I came back to drop off the groceries and he's like, 486, 400. Good. So I got back in the truck and I drove. I met my friend for a socially distant drink. So we sat across from each other far away and we're like, what? I didn't hear what she said, but I had a couple of drinks, and that was really the most important thing, and finished that and came back. And then he's like, 987. I was like, good. Okay. So I go into the laundry room, I sit in the hamper, and then he says 1,000. I'm like, I'm in the hamper. Oh, you know, because you don't want to spend all this time like him looking for you. It just takes so long because he never goes to where you know you're going to be. So it's just a hassle and you're like, I got to make dinner. Just come on. So if you just say like, I'm in the dryer, just get it out of the way. Yeah, because time is wasting. So get on it. And we play these other games. There's a real great games. How many full-size liquor bottles can you find under a queen-size bed? 43. That's the answer. 43. So it's like anything that I've dropped when I've got to bed early. I don't want to wrench my back by getting down and everything and trying to get under there. So especially the little ones are so convenient. So I get them down. I'm like, say how many you can find. And it's a good educational thing because when they come out and they're like, oh, this is vodka and this is gin. To them, vodka and gin look the same. And I have to explain to them, no, you don't put them together because they're different. Okay, so that way, if there's like 2 vodkas and they're the same kind, if they're half bottles, I'll put them together, make a full bottle. Like we put it together. My bar is stocked. It looks like it's ready for a party. It's like the middle of New York during Fleet Week. There's so much booze here ready to go. So when things open up and I can have my friends come back over, I'm super excited to be able to host them for something. So this is what you do. You got to find these little things to teach your kids and to help yourself. And we have this other game called Count the Cats, which is fun because this one is a game that you can play and it helps the community. So what we do is we make like a casserole or sloppy joes or something, put in a little bowl and take it over to somebody that we suspect might be a hoarder by the number of lawn ornaments and inflatable things they have in the front yard. Then we knock on the door, we put it on the doorstep, and we back up just, so we don't get sick or nothing. And we say, hello. And then we've made you something because we figured you would probably need some love in these days, because you're on your own and everything. And then you engage with them for just a couple minutes, not too long, like 4 or 5 exchanges tops, because otherwise they're going to tell you their story. And you're like, I know. I read about it in the police blotter. I know the whole thing, but you want to have them keep it up, just the door open enough so that the kids can look in and be like 6, 7, 8, 9. You count the cats, So that way, when the people from the Learning Channel are looking for like, where are we going to do the next hoarder episode? You're like, right there. So it's a win-win. See, everybody gets together and you got to get on the same page with it. That's what I'm talking about. You got to find ways to win these days. Find things that can bring you joy because things are tough right now, and people are getting real frustrated. And I get it because people have been cooped up for so long. People getting frustrated. People are at each other's throats. And, here's the thing. You got to let yourself off the hook. That is the most important thing. You got to let yourself off the hook because the game has changed and the goalposts have moved and you didn't have nothing to do with that. And you're still living in this world thinking it's going to be the way it used to be. I keep hearing people talk about, oh, I can't wait to go back to the way things were. I'm sorry to say they're never going to go back to the way things were. So what you got to do is got to reframe it and say, I can't wait to see the things that are to come. And that's kind of fun, right? So we always say to ourselves, someday when I have the time, I'm going to do dot, dash, and the other thing. Well, you got the time. You might not have the money, you might not have the resources right now, but you got the damn time. So use it to shift the way you're thinking and the way you're focusing and do the things you always dreamed of doing, but you've never had the time to do. This is the time to make that opportunity for yourself. Face the days ahead and put a smile on your face when you're doing that. And the kids are at home right now, so use the damn kids. I mean, keep them engaged. You have them for a reason. Lord, put them to work. They're the cheapest labor you're ever going to find. You got to take on these new challenges. That's the thing. Take these new challenges on. And when things get tense and people get moody, I know it's sometimes hard to find the good in the world, but all you got to do is just take a deep breath and find something to stop yourself and reset things. Figure out a way to. My kids came up with the most fun little thing. I love this. We have, when you go to like a checkout of something like the liquor store or whatever, and they have this little comment or complaint box. Well, we did something called the compliment box, which I love. I think this is the sweetest thing in the world. So what we did is we took one afternoon, we just put a mess of compliments, written them down on different pieces of paper and everything. And we put them in here. And then when we get tense or things going crazy, what we do is we just scream, compliment box. Stop what you're doing and you go over to the compliment box and you pick out a compliment and you spend some time with that for a minute, because that's going to change the way you think and it's going to make your mood better. And that's always a good thing, to be able to make your mood better. So like we go compliment box and you post something out. You're like, you look really pretty when you put pants on. You know, because most people haven't been wearing them for the last couple of months because you've been staying inside. So that's nice. You know, it's a compliment. You look pretty when you put pants on. That's so nice. You know, you have that. Here's this one just says purple. It's not so much a compliment. I said it's a color, but it's a pretty color. It's a nice, so think about purple. And that's going to change the way you think about things from that. No hugs does not equal no love. That's a sweet one. You know, sometimes you kind of forget about that. We're in this different world today. We're in this different situation. Just because we're not together, just because we're not in the same room, it doesn't mean the love goes away. You know, I can't be with you physically tonight, but just knowing that you're here, knowing that you're out there with me, sharing some time, it feels good, you know? It makes me happy. You got to find a way to make yourself happy. You got to look for the good right now. You got to do something every day to make yourself happy. Like, and what do you do? What do you do? Who are you calling? Who are you being with? What are you doing for yourself to make you happy? It ain't called happy hour just because of the booze. I mean, happy hour. Spend an hour every day being happy. Whatever that is to you. I mean, can you imagine how great your life would be if you spent an entire hour every day devoted to making yourself happy? Wouldn't that be mind-blowing? I mean, people are suffering right now, and it's hard. But this is why make yourself happy. Instead of being in each other's throats, figure out a way to do something for yourself, something for humanity, something that's going to be big. I mean, this right now is a test to our humanity. It really is. I mean, when you was young, I know none of us thought this is the way that the world would be. Some of us look in the mirror and you think, this is not the person I expected to become at this point in my life. But in some ways, maybe this is a good thing. Because this is a shake up to the system that we wouldn't have had unless the world put the brakes on and forced us to have it. So take a little bit of time, take a little focus away from the things that divide us. Give yourself a compliment. Find yourself something good and ways to put together, you know. Bring each other together in a way that you never thought possible before. Like they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. And as somebody who lives in Alabama in the storm area, trust me, I know when floodwaters come in, I can't tell you the amount of boats I've had float up into my backyard. Sometimes I just get in them. I drive them around. The police come. They're like, lady, get out of the boat. I'm like, in a minute. I got a free boat for a minute. I'm going to give that chance up. Come on. What's wrong? You got to look for those little things, you know. There's a song I love. It's a country song. You might not know it because, you know, unless you're a big country fan. It's from a lady named Jody Messina. It's one of my favorite things. She's got a song called Heads Carolina, Tails California. It's a song of this kind of broken woman, and she's just had it. She's like, I got to get away. So she takes her man friend. They jump in the car. She said, we're going to drive. We're going to flip a coin. We're going to drive. If it's heads, Carolina, tails, California. Somewhere greener, somewhere warmer. And the thing I love about that song that really strikes me is in life, when you flip a coin, someone wins, but somebody always loses. But in this song, what I love is she flips the coin, and either way she wins. Heads Carolina, tails California. Somewhere greener, somewhere warmer. You know, sometimes it's weird because we live in this world that it feels like if I win, you got to lose. If I want to get what I need, I got to take it from you. It's kind of a cynical way to look at the world. Instead, if you look at a way to like lift yourself up, it can draw everybody up with you. Find a way to be happy. It's a good thing. So when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, say, this is the person I'm supposed to be, and damn it, I'm proud of it. You know, people go up and look at all that mismatched furniture and stuff that's on the freeway after a storm. And you know that everybody goes for the nice stuff. They go for the sets. They go for things that match. They go for the pretty stuff, the expensive stuff. And they pass right over all the stuff. It's just like a little faded or has a tear in it or something. Why? It's just as good as everything else. You know, it's just like people. Some people they're a little faded. Some people have got a little tear in them. Doesn't mean they're not amazing. Just means they've lived. You know, I don't know anybody that doesn't have a couple of tears at them. We call them battle scars. And the deeper the battle scar, the more you've lived. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. My mom always jokes about, you are the swimmer that won. You know, when your mama and daddy were doing that thing where they're jumping up and down on the trampoline and hanging from the ceiling fan and they made you, you know, you have tens of thousands of brothers and sisters that were swimming up there with you and you were the one that won. You got life. So the odds of you being here at all are slim. So take this minute and while everything is so jumbled up and recognize how great that is. You were the one that got to be here. You know, find that little happiness. I got a friend, it's an older gentleman, considerably older, and he's an amazing guy. And he's always doing things that he shouldn't be doing at his age, but he is up crack of dawn in the morning. He is running around. He's talking to the flowers. He always is the one that puts this big fireworks display together during the July 4th holidays. You know, he's catching fireflies, swimming in the gully on a Sunday after church. He's doing all of these things that people half his age wouldn't be doing. And one time I went to the honky tonk, my best friend Georgia Jean, the one she owns, and he was just getting off a mechanical bull when I walked in. And I said, Bob, you blow my mind. How do you do that? You know, how do you keep going at your age and keep so optimistic? And he said to me, and I'll never forget this, he said, you know what? I'm just too curious. You know, I'll never see everything I want to see. I'll never meet all the people that I want to meet. I'll never be able to do everything I want to do. There's so much of all that. So I can't ever say that I'll be able to complete the things that I want to complete. So boredom is not an option. And I thought, what a great way to look at life. You can always find something to do. Always find something great about it. You know, always look for your happy hour. It's out there. It maybe is covered up by some stuff, but it's out there. So take a minute, look for things that make you happy. Dedicate yourself to it every day. It'll be worth it at the end. And when we all come out the other side of this, we'll come out better and stronger. Maybe a little faded, maybe with a couple extra battle scars, but it's all right. Makes our life more interesting. I want to thank you for spending a little bit of time with me tonight. Before the storm comes, I'm going to go outside and sit in my favorite faded chair and spend some time with the fireflies. So I appreciate you spending this hour with me. And if you think about it and want to donate a little bit to the Lead Center, I'm sure they'd be real grateful for it. You know, I'm grateful for you spending the time with me. So, and hopefully, if you're there in Lincoln, I'll see you in October when I'm coming there live. But keep on smiling. All right. Thank you for spending the night with me. Get yourself a compliment box. You deserve it. Have a good one.